Let's see if this works. Check, 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 check. First stream in a while. Hello. Hey. 4 people, 3 people. Say something, please, so I know you're here. And we can get rolling. Still working out some kinks here. Let me know if you hear crackling on your end. I'm also hearing my voice twice, so I'm probably going to sound weird this whole stream to myself. Oh, nice. Sound check is good. All right. I just have to get used to myself talking twice. Thanks, DB. If you hear any other sounds in the background, my wife is playing Breath of the Wild. She still has no armor or anything, so she's very, very green. If I have to stop, she's going to be asking me a question like, how do I use magnesis or something like that? So I forgot the cameras down here. All right. We got 5 people. Let's get started. So I'm going to make this relatively informal because when I try to make things formal, I get nervous. So I'm just going to be myself. I'm Josh Weatherspoon. I go by the name Josh Spoon as an artist. And I started the Producer's Kitchen like close to 5 years ago. And I originally was going to try to start online school, but a friend of mine started an actual school, and I saw that was a lot of work. So I just decided to focus on making fun videos, talking about things that a lot of other people using live and other stuff don't really talk about, and a lot of weird ways that I try to use stuff and explore. So if that's something you're into and you're new to me and the whole Producer's Kitchen thing, this is what it is. And today I'm going to be talking about some creativity with MIDI. This came out with a guy that I know and co-organizer of the LA Ableton Users Group, Yuta Benatar. He wanted to do something right before the virus hit. We had a user group, and it was all about MIDI exploration. So I wasn't really like keen on the idea because I didn't think there was a lot to explore, but I spent some time with it and realized there's a ton. And I have 6 things I'm going to show whereabouts of ways that I thought were pretty cool to use some of the built-in MIDI stuff. And I'm using 2 Max for Live devices. And if people dig this, then I will do a second one with just Max for Live devices because I love Max for Live. And I used to write articles about it and stuff like that. So, yeah, let's get started. I've been yammering long enough. Thanks, Matthew. Don't be nervous. I do it all the time, and I'm here and interested. Thanks, dog. Cool. All right. This double voice, hearing myself twice is annoying. Let me see. Okay, everything's out. All right, I'll just have to get used to this. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about here is the ARP. And if you don't know what the Arpeggiator is, I'll just open up the browser. MIDI Effects. There's not a lot of them, so there's Arpeggiator. And I'm not going to be doing the usual Arpeggiator stuff, which is playing notes and stuff. It's mainly going to be percussive, this double voice. Here we go. So what I'm going to focus on here is retrigger. It's something I never really used. I didn't really understand how it worked. And it's actually really easy. I don't know why that took me so long to mess with it and get it. So the retrigger allows you to set retrigger either off or by how many notes are going to happen. So if I, hey, not you. Let's turn that off and let's do, make sure this thing's off. So that we don't end up with that happening again. So I'm just going to arm this, and so you see it only fires twice. So if we put it on note, that's what's going to happen. Same with that, 4 times. So every time you press it, it re-triggers it. Beat, on the other hand, is really cool because you can get different rhythms and things out of this. So if I do quarter notes and I do anything other than infinity, like we'll just do 1, every quarter note, it'll happen once. And we'll do 8th. So then when you do odd rhythms, not really odd, but you know, ones that aren't just quarter note, 8th notes, you get interesting different types of rhythms. So this is 3/8. So you'll end up, and then if you change the rate, obviously you can automate that and then create all sorts of rhythms. So the retrigger is really beneficial if you want to start making different rhythms that you wouldn't normally do. And with the automation, you can go all over the place. Like you can add step, obviously. And then we can add swing. Then that gets even weirder. So it's a really fun, weird way to use Arpeggiator that a lot of people don't seem to use. Maybe you do, but I don't see too many videos or people really talking about that. So I always have a finished here to play, and I set this one up previously. And so, actually, this is the right one, I think. There we go. So I used, where are you? I turned off the loop, so it's doing the same notes over again, but I've changed the arpeggiator to go from major to minor, and then from C to F sharp. And I changed the distance when you hear the weird high-pitched stuff. So that's the first one. Really simple. I would say, does anybody have any questions? But I think this stream is like, let me see. If I do this, how far behind is it? Oh, it's really far behind. It hasn't shown me the drink yet. Got to bridge this latency gap if we're going to continue to meet through the internets. Oh, wait. No. The longer I wait, the longer it'll take for you guys to get everything. Wow, that was like 2 minutes. All right. So the next thing is, I'm just thinking about you hearing me in the future past. All right. So next thing is flamming. And so this is just a snare, make up the C3. All right, so here's it off, just me triggering it. And then with the ARP on, obviously, it'll do eighth notes because that's what's here. But if I want to flam it, I can go to note, and that's going to happen however many times the repeat is. I'm just going to set that to 1, and then I'm going to turn off sync and have a really short rate. So it's going to be the first actual playing of the note, and then it's going to be 1 repeat 19.3 milliseconds later. Oh, that's what I forgot. Set the step to 1, and I'm changing the distance, which is really the pitch, so it's not the same pitch. So if you don't know what a flam is, it's just 2 hits, but 1 hit is right after the other. On drums, it's like if you're doing a flam, you'll have maybe the left hand low, right hand high. You come down at the same time. The left hand is closer to the drum, so it hits sooner, and then right after that is the high left, right. So that's how you get flamatized. Here's the finish, probably about the same. And I'll turn it off. So you can look at the settings I had there. Not much different. All right. So the next one, yeah, that was everything there. Next one is note off. I never use note office. The stupid double voice. I never use note off, but I obviously used it in Max for Live or Ableton presets and stuff like that because they're in there, and I've opened them up and I've thought, oh, well, like when you, I think it's the piano or the electric pianos, it has like you play and then there's a little bit of noise. Also, the bass guitar and guitars and basses pack has a kind of fret noise, I think, after you play a bass note, and you could turn that volume up and down. So I didn't really know how to use it in my own way, but I found a way. So this one's Y, should say Y note off. But if I, let me explain here. Instrument rack, sample, and then another instrument rack, and that has no length on it. Then I set trigger to note off, not note on. So when I let go of the keys, this sample will fire. 2 different samples. And we could tell because stop. The other one says stop in it. Stop, 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 stop. And so I use that just as a way to kind of tell myself what's actually happening. It's always good to use things that are really normal, which is a voice. I find when you just use your voice or someone's voice, things can become a little bit more understandable. And so I made this little knob here to change it to a reverse of this sample here. So I took the same sample. This one has sampler. This one's simpler. I forgot why I did that. Oh, because I wanted the stop is here, and then the sample is here, and I have a selector, and I've moved this selector over here, which is now playing the sample. And if we go to that sample, we'll see that it's reversed. All that is mapped to this knob here. So now when I do it, so I have a note and then I have the note reversing on itself. Obviously you could put anything here. So I could put some sort of crackle or noise or smoke or, another voice or something like that. So this note length is really good for changing the length of notes for on and off, but it's also great for just doing off stuff, on, note, off. All right. Scale is another one that was super confusing to me when I first started using Live. The basics of it is the X coordinate is the note that is being played, and then the Y is the note you want it to be. It's that simple. So if I want C to be C sharp, I would just move that up. In this example, let me close that. I've got some drum samples, and then I've got my bop pad here, and we'll see some of these are mapped to the right thing and some aren't. In the bop pad and with any drum pad or any thing that has software, most of the time allows you to remap. But let's just say you have something really old and you can't remap it. Scale is a good way to do that. So right here, I have one that's not doing anything. I have this one that's doing kick. So I want to do the clap here. The clap is on D sharp 1. One thing I'm going to do, because I think this one's off too, and I think this is D sharp 3, and they're going to end up triggering the same thing, or these two. Yeah. I'm going to set the lowest note actually to C2, which is, it's not 36. Yeah. Let's just go up. So I'm going to say the lowest note that this scale is going to affect is C2. And then the range is, let's do, just to be safe, let's just do 11 semitones up from that guy. And so if I change, what was it? So that is, I'm sending D. So I want to send D sharp. Let's see. Oh, not C2. What am I doing? 36. There we go. All right. Lowest note, C1. Range, let me semitones. So now I didn't have to remap the actual unit. I'm doing it with scale. And then this is playing D2. So I'm going to just get another one here. And then can't see on my screen. So I moved that one to C2 and I did the same thing. So actually, I don't. So let's say, which is true, I don't want it to fire any of these up here. I want it to do snap. So I'm going to take, I need this to be F1. So that is D sharp, E, F. So it's now playing F2. So I set, this might be a little confusing. I set C2, which is right here, as the boundary for this scale. But I'm trying to get something below C2, so I am going to transpose this down. So I set what I'm grabbing, C2, and then I'm positioning it to play below C2 by doing transpose. There we go. And I wonder if that could be fixed with, no, it can't be fixed with fold. So now I've got all these mapped the way I want. And I can, if I wanted to, put that down. I don't need it. Command G or group these, save it if I have something in the future, and just be like, hey, when I bring out the bob pad again, I want it to be able to have it. Bob pad settings, save, and then it'll save right in my library. Cool. That is that. All right. One max for live one. And I've got another one from, well, Isotonic Studios is releasing it. I don't know who actually made it, but I'll talk about that later. This is Melodic Steps. If you have Suite, you have access to it. I think it's in Creative Extensions pack, I believe. Forgot to look that up. Actually, let's just see. Creative Extensions. There we go. Good old hot swap. All right. So this lets you set the octave, and this lets you set the pitch, and this is the note length, which doesn't really apply because these samples right here don't care about note length, I don't think. Yeah, they're just one shots. Velocity, which I think is on 35 for all the samples by default. So this will kind of affect it. And then this is chance or probability. So you can see these are all gray. These 16 steps, 14 of them are gray. So this is just going to be doing these two over and over again. These are 3. So we're going to end up with weird timing. Somebody's at my door. Okay. Let's wait a second. Oh, package. All right. I know somebody's coming to cough on my wife. So don't forget to wash your hands. So the transpose is in 3, so you're going to end up with odd looping, and it's going to generate some weird stuff. So this is the kick, and I think the snare, or the snap, and then the kick. And it's going to, since it's in 4/4, and this is a 3, you're going to end up with weird timing. So if, let's turn that guy off. And that guy. All right. So you can see it's 3, but if I turn this to 4 or 5, change the transpose. This is hard to switch. Never done it on the fly. let's add more chants. You get the idea. Let's actually, how do we do this? Let's randomize it. Nope, even worse. All right, so you get the idea. Play around with the melodic steps. You can come up with cool patterns. It's almost like how the arpeggiator, this double voice, how the arpeggiator retrigger works. Okay. It's too much Lysol. My wife just sprayed. I'm joking over here. All right. Ads. All right. Random marching band. Random is a very cool device. You could do a lot of different things with random. Here we will, let's see. We've got the ARP. And let me just put hold on for a moment. And we see this 0, which is nothing's changing. This means it's a note higher. This means a note lower. So if I put chance at 50, it has a 50% chance every time of going to the higher note. And it can go to 12 different notes, which is anything between itself and an octave. Here it's set to random, but if I put it to alternate, it should be going up every time. If I change it to chance, it'll literally just step up, up, and up. So that's the basics of it. Sub means it goes down. Bi means it goes both ways. We all know what bi means. All right, let's see. So, what you could do is generate two notes. You can toggle back and forth. So there's a 100% chance that it will play itself or what's above it. If I put sub, it'll do itself or below, or 100% chance if I, there we go, it's a better angle. If I do bidirectional, and then you can see it's doing a sequence. So you can do randomization of notes. You could do sequences using the random object, and then you could do a lot of things in between. So what I did with that is I made this guy. So this allows, I turn this down a little bit. This thing allows for kind of a marching band type of feel. If you had, snare drummers to the right and left and center of you. So here you see I've panned left, right, and then less left and more right. And each one of these is pretty much the same. I'm controlling the hold with this. That's what I had to do earlier. If I turn it off, it stops because I'm not holding the note down. And then I got the rate here. Basic stuff. But in each one of these, so we'll look at this chain as an arpeggiator. Then there's a random, and this random literally does random notes, not pitch. And the way that I got through that was I obviously set it on random. So it's randomly has a 39% chance of playing itself or the note above. And if we look right now, we see it's playing either itself or a note above. And we'll look that this zone only works on the original note and not the other one. So if I mute this, you'll hear it's creating random rest. That's why I have rest effect. So I'm not using this for pitch. I'm doing this solely for rest. And then this guy does the pitch. So if I take that off pitch, it's just the same note over and over again. If I turn pitch on, it's only got 2 choices, so it's not wild. But if I, now you can see, and if I turn random off, it would be every time. So once again, creating random rhythms off of this thing. And just randomly creating rhythms for each one, left, kind of right, and right. See? That's fun. I didn't think it was going to be fun when I started this, like I said, but this is actually really helpful to make rhythms. And that's just keeping the sync rate in one spot and not automating it or automating these chances that I put, or the random on and off, or pitch or hold, or any of that. All right. Envelope dopeness. So I forgot, this is also a Max for Live device. This is in, if you're using Live 10, this is now in Core Library. The envelope can be used for a ton of stuff. I would suggest using it for things that don't have an envelope. One of them is a lot of times reverbs. Now, there's the 80s gated reverb, but with an envelope, you can really style how you want your reverb to be. So that's what I did. So if we just map this, I'm going to map it straight to the chain volume. I found that to be kind of the easiest. Where are we here? Okay. So we got this guy, we get the volume. So really, I have an example that will have this done better. Oh, you know what I need? I need note length. Note length. So that is, I'm not going to name it. So this will not go through, and this should. Oh, that's what it is. You know what? I'm being stubborn. Let me go to my final example, because I forgot how I did it. That's why racks are great. You build them once, and then you don't have to remember what you did. Okay, so if I play this guy. So here's the snare. So we could see the volume raising and falling. So I'm sending this snare to send A in the drum rack. Inside of send A is synth strings. Why is that synth string? I don't know. Anyway, it's a convolution reverb. And how it works is I have a rack here. There's the effect that I'm trying to do with the envelope. I'm using the note on to shape with the envelope, and then I'm got it mapped to the chain volume of the reverb. So if I turn this off, you'll hear. That's what I was trying to get at with the note on, is giving me the full length of the envelope, because the note that's being sent is like really short. So I'm manipulating it without it actually going through to this sample, which shouldn't actually matter because this is a one shot, but whatever. So if I turn both of them off, and so that's what it sounds like without it. So I can use this envelope, and I set it to free, so it's free to just move. I can build my reverb however I want, and I'm not at the mercy of a gate or just a reverb that may be powerful in what I want, but not too powerful. So I can take this really insanely loud and big reverb and shape it. This thing I can also have the velocity affect the amount, but I have that off because it's exactly how I want it. I can change the time so it moves through the envelope faster. I could sync it, loop it, could do all sorts of weird things. So that's just looping, and this will sync to the clock. Cool. You get the idea. So next one here. Oh, is that all of them? Except for the last one? Did that. Okay. This phrasing. All right. So this one is a part of, I forgot the full name, but it's MF10. If you go to Isotonic Studios, and I thought back in the day they had the logo and I would go to the website, but that was a long time ago. Isotonic Studios with a K, Isotonic with a K Studios. They have the MF10, and this thing is actually really cool. There's 10 different MIDI devices, Max for Live MIDI devices that'll come in handy. This one takes a kind of like the random idea that I was talking about and puts it to where you can put in a series of notes just like you would on the Sub 37 or some sort of sequencer where you just press in a number of notes and then have it sequence. This will do that. So if I hit record and then I do, let's enable that. Oh. I don't know that I hit the first note, but let's do it. So all I'm doing is playing the same key. I recorded a couple of notes, and then I turn record off, and then all here it says all notes. No matter what note I play on the keyboard, it will trigger the sequence. So I can play different patterns. So you're really, that Lysol got to me. You're really just playing with not pitches, but I always forget notes, note lengths, swing, all that. That's what you're worrying about, because the notes are being handled by you just triggering. All right. So I'm going to go to the finished one. And let's see. I have pads here, and what's happening, forget about this chords part, but what I did was I made a melody and a drums chain, and inside the melody it's triggered by D1. There's already a sequence recorded, and the drums are triggered by C1, and there's already a sequence recorded. And then inside of here, I have a rack after that that makes sure only the drum sequence plays, because I have two different things on here: the drum sequence and the wavetable. So I could pretty much put a whole band in here, put it on 4 pads, and then play them all at the same time, and each one of them has a sequence on it. Yeah. I'm really going to start using that a lot more. Doing it the live way is cool, but this has a lot of cool features, and it's a little bit less work. So definitely check that out. That's really it. If anybody has any questions, I know I'm on like a 1-minute lag or something like that. So if you have any questions, shoot me the questions and I'll try to answer them. And I'll try not to trip over here my voice twice. But yeah, some MIDI, creative, fun, different things. And I'll just chill for a little bit. I know there's a couple of you on here still. Next time I'll have hold music. All right. Well, take that as nobody has any questions and everything's Gucci. So I'll drop you some links if you don't already know where you are. This is the Producer's Kitchen, and also will drop this guy, which is a free device that allows you to not go over 0 dB, which is really awesome when you're performing live. It's a Max for Live device I made a couple years back. And if there's not any questions, I'll end the stream. I hope you guys are coping well in this time we're in, and I hope you're staying as creative as you can, and make sure you take care of yourself and the people around you. I'm Josh Spoon, Producer's Kitchen. Check out the other videos. I've maybe like 100 videos or so on this, and a couple on my Josh Spoon that I used to do under my artist name. Check out my music, Bandcamp, Josh Spoon, also Spotify, Apple Music under Josh Spoon, and everything else besides educational stuff under Josh Spoon. So with that and the link, I'll see you guys. Thanks for coming.